Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Build It with Tim. On this week's episode, we are talking about building a proposal or a quote system or generator. Okay, so the idea here is that we are creating projects. We then want to create proposals for those projects, and we want to do this dynamically. So by adding different pieces of the proposal, whether that's like line items or project phases, okay, we're adding all of this data into our application for our own internal use. But at the same time, we are building out essentially all of the data necessary to dynamically generate a nice, clean, beautiful digital um, proposal, okay, that we can then send to a client. We can collect signatures on that proposal using the signature field. And then ultimately, you could always generate that proposal as a PDF and save it or print it, email it, whatever you want to do. Okay, so to do this, we're going to be using the page builder. All right, I know that's kind of generic and broad, but I realized that I don't think we've really spent a ton of time inside the page builder doing a bunch of different things. Usually, when we end up in the page builder during these episodes, it's for a very specific reason, and we kind of glance over some of the other abilities or features within the page builder. So we're going to take a look at some of those today. We're going to be doing PDF pages and e-signatures here. You can see we're talking about e-signatures, but that's going to be using the signature field that's going to be inside of our data table. And we are going to use that to collect signatures both internally, okay, from our own organization and also from the client. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little trick on how you can use that field. It's pretty cool. So we'll take a look at that. And anyways, yep, I'll show you the finished product and then we'll hop into the builder. Okay. All right, so here's the finished product, and on the what I'm going to refer to as kind of like the back end of this. What I mean by this is like the actual internal use of the application, right, where we're actually building out a proposal. So, as I mentioned in the intro, we're really just kind of like collecting information for the proposal, but the cool part here is actually how we're going to display it. Okay, so right on this page, you can see we just have a bunch of different um, data sets that we're adding to this proposal as connected records. And then we have a button up here to view the proposal. And what that is it actually brings us to a page that's purpose built to just display this proposal as a kind of like a digital document. So you can see there is no menu, there is no layout or anything. It's just all of our data that's really nice and cleanly displayed. And then at the bottom, we have the ability to actually add signatures. Okay, so this is what we're going to be building, and let's get to it. All right, so let's spend just a few moments going through the data structure. I want to explain this data structure as thoroughly and as clearly as I can before we move on to the page builder. Okay, so we have our users. This contains both internal and external people. Okay, we have myself as an internal person. There's nothing really that specifies internal other than the fact that I'm connected to my own company, right? And then we have, I guess, admin, the user role, I guess, kind of specifies that, whether it's admin or customer, but either way. Okay, and then we have David Ross. He is a customer and he belongs to a different company. Those companies are held in this table. Just a single field. Of course, you can add whatever fields you want, but all we have is company name. Now, companies or users from those companies can add new projects. And you can see we have some connections here to the company, to the contact, and then we have a whole lot of fields that define this project, right? The name of the project, our hourly rate or whatever we're going to bill for that project description, status, priority, notes. And then we have a lot of different questions to help us identify um, the scope of this project and then be able to generate a proposal a lot easier because we have this information. Okay, so in this particular example, we're focusing on application development. Okay, so that's what this internal organization is doing. They are developing applications for clients, right? Does it sound familiar? And we're going to go that direction. Okay, so once a project is created, then we can create a proposal record. Okay, and that proposal record looks something like this, where we have the name of the proposal. Now, whether that's the project name or something else that you define, that's up to you. Then we have the connection to the project, the company, the customer. And then we have 3 fields for the customer, 3 fields for the internal organization member or employee. So we have the customer name, the customer signature, and the date in which they signed it. Okay, and then we have the same thing for the internal user, in this case, the Tadabase studios person, whatever you want to call this particular organization. Okay, so we have the name of the employee, we have their signature when they signed it. The overview is simply a rich text field that lets us kind of describe this proposal in depth, and then we have a status of the proposal in general. Okay, so all of the documents, all of the documentation for this proposal, all of the things that we're going to be offering to the client are coming from these tables here. Okay, I have one table called services that's predefined. Okay, these are the services that I offer as an organization to every single project and proposal that I do. These are services that I have created ahead of time. I have a name for that service. I have a type. What kind of service is that? Is it a main service? Is it an add-on? I could have an image here. I could add a cost. These are all predefined services. These are the things that I offer to every single person who contacts me. Okay. Now we have things that are a bit more dynamic. So depending on the project and all of these fields that got filled out here, like whether we need custom code or if you have a specific budget or what are your design details, we can add these line items in here. Okay, so these connect to not only a proposal, also one of our predefined services. So if somebody needs custom code, then I can add that custom code service as a line item. Okay, and then again, I could define a cost. I could define this cost like specifically or individually on this line item record, or I could reference that connected service cost if I stored it in the service um, table. Okay, then we have project phases where we're outlining what this project's going to look like. Okay, what are we going to do in phase one? When's it going to start? When's it going to end? Okay, and then we have, again, we're doing app development for this example. So we are going to then list out all of the pages that we intend to build for this application and all of the data tables that we intend to build out for this application so that the client has a clear understanding of what they're going to receive. Okay, that is the data structure. I hope I've explained that well enough that you understand what we're doing here from start to finish. Now, when it comes to the page builder, what we need to do is we need to have an administrator layout. Okay, so we have our internal organization members, team members who are creating projects, looking at submitted projects, creating proposals. All of those pages are going to exist under the admin layout. Okay, so I've created this admin layout and I have secured this layout by user roles. So this will secure every single page that's within here. You can see these pages within this layout are inheriting from that layout, the security from that layout. So I only have to set this once. I'm going into the admin layout. I am securing this by admin role. And then I've created a whole bunch of pages just to kind of get myself started a little bit. Okay, so we have customers, right? Great. We can add a form there to add a new customer. Same with companies, projects. We'll look at project details in a second. Services. Yep, let's add all of our predefined services and make sure that we have all of our offerings documented. And then we have proposals with the proposal details. Now I'm going to be working mainly from the project details and the proposal details. In project details, okay, or in this particular example, we have a customer layout where they can submit a project through a form. And then once that project comes in, now we can process it and generate a proposal. So when a new project comes in, and let's maybe do that right after we talk about this page. We are looking at all the details that the customer provided. Then we are going to just add a new proposal. So this is a form that is going to add a new proposal connected to this project. And then from there, we can go start adding all of those tables, all of these items to that proposal. Okay, so let's log in. Let me make sure I have the username and password for this fake user, David Ross. Let's just reset his password quickly. And then we'll just log in. So David at example.com. Okay. Whoops. Jeez, I think I could get a simple password right. Okay, so we log in and David is going to submit a project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skip through this part just a little bit because there's a lot of stuff on this project form, and then we'll take a look at the finished submitted project. All right, so David has submitted this project, and I now see this. I'm logged in as myself as like an administrator, and I can see this project, and we can see everything that we need to know about this project. Okay, so here's all of the data that he filled out on the form, and now I can create a proposal. So this customer is looking for a complete ERP system. So let's just take that and make that the name of the proposal. And I'm just going to copy some of this fake text for the overview. All right, this is going to create the actual proposal record. And now we're going to link it to our proposal details page so that we can actually then navigate directly from that project details page to the proposal details page. And to do that, we're going to be using a connected page link. So you can see we are in project details with a table view of proposals, which is essentially the same thing as what we have here as this proposals page. Again, a table view of proposals. So if we want to get to that project or proposal details page, we can get to it from either proposal table. We can get to it from this one on the project details page, or we can get to it from here. So to use that connected page link, we're going to go to links, connected page, and now we can select, we have access to that proposal details page. So we're going to add that there, and we'll say view proposal, or how about edit proposal, right? Proposal, yes, okay. Can I spell? I can spell, great. Okay. Now, let's talk about this proposal details page. So here's where we're at now on the page builder. We need to add all of the proposal content, and right, that's going to be the line items, the project phases, the page structure, the data structure. So to do this, right, we have our proposal detail component here. We can leave that alone for now. Maybe we can make some adjustments to that later, but I'm going to add a whole bunch of rows. I'm actually going to add 4 rows, right? One for each of those tables that I just mentioned. And I'm going to do them each with 2 columns. Okay, so I can resize this column because I'm going to do a form on one side and the content on the other. Okay, so we have one row with 2 columns, 2 rows with the same thing, 3 rows, and our last row here. Right, okay, so now we're going to start adding our tables to view everything. So we have let's see, we have a lot of different options here for what we want to choose as a data source. Again, we're looking at the details of this proposal, and we want to see all of the line items that are connected to this proposal. Okay, and the difference between the connected to this proposal and related to this proposal is the actual hierarchy of those connections. So when we look at records that are connected to this proposal, we're talking about line items that have a direct connection back to proposals, as opposed to if I did something related to this proposal, we have companies that are related via the projects table, right? So it's not a direct connection from projects to companies. We're actually using the connection in projects to build that relationship. All right, so we're just looking at this top section here, just direct connections. So line items that connect to this that connect to this proposal. Sorry, I'm thinking, I'm not entirely sure what fields I need to add to this, but we'll take a look. Okay, and then we have project phases that connect to this proposal. Then we have, let's do data structure first. Data structure, so the data table and what fields it's going to have. And then let's do page structure. Okay. All right, so now we're looking at all of our tables, and now we need to add some forms here to actually add new records for each one of those tables. So add a new line item. Sure, let's just do quick add. Add a new project phase. Again, we'll do quick add and take out fields we don't need later. Data structure, quick add. And page structure. Okay, last one. So, all right, this is now, in the most basic sense, this is done. Okay, where we have, whoops, the ability to add all of this information to our proposal. But again, I could probably take a lot of the stuff out. Like I don't need the proposal field here because we already know the proposal. We're on the details page for it. So let's do that. We could take out the proposal. Let's move service over here because the service description, I don't remember if we're actually going to pull this in from something else. I think we could probably, I think type and service image, those two things actually come from the service record themselves. I don't remember if I had that set up as a table rule. I did. Service image and type. So what this is doing is for our service, right, has an image, it has a type, and for every single line item record that we create, we go find that connected service type and image, and we set it here and here. And so that's going to be done automatically. Okay, so let's work on the next form now. Again, we don't need this proposal field because we're on the proposal details. The nature of this form is to set that connection automatically, excuse me. So we have proposal. We're going to select the phase, and then we're going to do the description, and then we'll put in our date range, and you can put a due date. I actually don't remember if that's being used or not, but I think I created both just in case. So let's just add that there. Great. Service. Oh, I can get rid of some of this. Total type. Let's move this over here. This is a rich text field. The phase description is a rich text, so it's going to have more height to it by default. So I'm going to put it in its own column over there, kind of like that one here. So we can take that out, data table, and then the fields for that table. And then take a proposal and do the title of the page and the description for the page. All right, so that's good now, I think. All right, so what this would look like is, okay, let's say we wanted to do the app development. We can say it's, let's say it's 30 hours at $100 an hour. I don't know. And we'll put this in here. So that's our first service. Let's see why our total is not calculating. Okay, so the total is a basic formula that does quantity times cost. Quantity times cost. Weird. There we go. Okay. Then we have Let's see. They said they need custom code. I don't know. Let's just put in two more things. Okay, so we'll do custom code and say there's 5 and 5 what? I don't know. Hours maybe. Who knows? Okay, so here's our services that are added for our line items, and then we'll do phase one is going to be I don't know. We'll start it from Sunday the 11th to, and I realize this date range, this form being a little squished over here is not the best. So that's going to go from Sunday to Saturday. And phase two will be the next week. And we'll do phase three too. Why not? 25th to the 1st. Okay. All right, that's fine. I just want to have some information in here. The data table. So let's say users, right? And then we would list out the fields that we want to have. And for now, we'll just do it that. I don't know. Again, this is all fake here, so we'll just do it like this. And then we'll have, events. Again, I don't know what we're actually. Okay, we'll do. We'll only do a couple more. We'll do something like documents. What do I call this? Oh, field name. Yep. Okay. Sure. We'll leave it like that. Okay. And the page structure. Okay. So we'll do like the login page with some text here. And this is purely just for an example. Login page, the customer homepage. Yeah, we could just do that. Let's just do 2 pages. Again, that part's not super important. It's all about the actual proposal itself. Okay, so here's the deal. So at this point, our proposal has all of the information that it needs. Okay, now minus the signatures. So what we need to do now is we need to build out a page for both the customer to see this proposal and um, and our organization to see this proposal. Okay, so this is going to be like the finished view. Okay, and we're going to set that up now. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to go and we're actually going to make a new layout, and we're going to call this proposal layout because it's going to be dedicated just for proposals. And if you'll notice, I didn't select any actual layout. All I want is the page container. I don't need a menu. I don't need anything else. Okay, so we're going to secure this. Okay, so we're going to secure. We're going to secure the whole layout. I don't know. Hold on. We're going to add a. Let me do this first. We're going to add a view proposals. Okay, we're going to name this page view proposals. This will hopefully all make sense in a second. It's going to be, yeah, proposals. We're going to have a details page for this proposal. Okay, and this page, the view proposals, is going to be secured where only admins can see it. Okay, but the details page is going to be any logged in user. Okay, so 2 different security settings there. Again, the parent page of all of the proposals, right? We don't want customers seeing proposals that are not theirs. Okay, so all of the proposals, this page is secured by admin only, and the details page is secured by any logged in user. That means that customers will be able to see the proposal as well as internal members of this organization. Okay, so great. Now what we can do is we start to build out we're going to build out proposal details page again, but this time it's going to be a lot nicer than it was previously. Okay, so I have this idea on how we're going to do this, and we're going to start by deleting everything. And I want everything to be a little bit more narrow on the page. I don't want everything to be full width, so I'm going to change the container size for each row on the page to fixed rather than fluid. Fluid would be full width fit of their screen. Fixed is about 1,000 pixels wide. So we're going to change that there. And then let's see, we're going to add, what do we want first? We want an image up there, right? Because this is going to be like the public facing, um, not public facing, but customer facing proposal. So we're going to want to add an image, and let's do that now. So we'll choose the image component, and we're going to upload our image. Let me find it and drag it into place here. Okay, we have our image. Now I realize you can't see the text because it's white text on a white background. That's okay. And I'm also going to set a background color for the row. Whoops, no, we've already done that. Background color, we're going to set a background color here. And we don't need a border or anything. We will do some spacing options here. So the margin is going to tell us how far away should this row be from other things, other rows. We don't need to do that, but we want to say how, let's shrink the content inside the row by a certain amount, essentially. So we'll set padding here to 50 pixels all the way around. So now everything will be set inwards inside this row by 50 pixels. Okay, and then the last thing we'll do is we're going to add some custom HTML, and we're going to put this right underneath the image. Okay, now I'm just going to paste this in here so you can see it. Heading 2 means we're doing a heading. Well, H2 is heading 2. Okay, so we could actually do it like this, heading 2. We could type our text, okay, or I'm just going to copy this in, and now you can see what we've got. So if I highlight it, you can see what it is. So we did proposal for and then project. All right, so here's what we did. We did heading 2, proposal for, and then we're going to add a field value of the project name. Okay, this is going to be, they're both going to be centered, and then I made the color white. Okay, there it will dynamically bring in the proposal name and show it here. All right, so before I go any further, let's go back to our regular proposal details page here. And we're going to add a link button. Let's see if we can do this. Yep, a link button to view the proposal from this particular layout. Okay, so let's do this. And now we can go back to this page. Great, again, so we've edited this proposal, we've added all our things, and now we want to go view it. All right, and this is what we've got so far. Okay, so let's do, what else do we want to do, at least for that section there? I think what we want to do is, I think we're going to add some a border radius, and yeah, we're going to do it as custom CSS. So border radius, and let's say 25 pixels, and that's on the row that I just did this on. So now the rows here will actually add a radius to that background. Okay, and then, all right, let's move on to the next stuff. I don't want to get too caught up in a lot of this. So we're going to add another row. And again, we want it to be the same width as the first one. So the first thing we're going to do is change that to fixed. And now I'm going to add like a little like welcome message, like a hello message kind of thing. So if I do that, again, I've already pre-written some of this stuff because I didn't want to take the time to write it all. But what we did is we added in another some more dynamic values, right? Dear customer, thank you for choosing Tadabase, right? And then this whole intro thing, and then a copy of my signature, right? To make it look nice. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, again, we're going to keep previewing this over and over again. Dear David Ross, thank you for choosing Tadabase. Let's maybe add this space back. All right, now that we've kind of given David our welcome, we are going to continue adding rows, okay, and setting those rows again to fixed width. And we're just going to keep adding things like HTML, like whatever we want it to say. So if we want it to be, let's say the first section we're going to display is the overview of the proposal. Okay, so we're going to do the overview. I'm actually going to remove the space underneath that line there. Overview, and then we're going to add. Now here's where we can start to pull in pieces from different places that are connected to this proposal. So the first place I'm going to pull from is directly from the proposal details. So I'm going to select a detail component and pull in information from the proposal itself. And what I want to pull in here is the overview. Okay, so we've already filled this out, or the customer's already filled this out. We've filled this out, edited it. Now we can actually show it on this particular proposal. So we're going to add this here. Again, let's keep looking. The overview, great. So now we can see all of that information. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to add is we'll talk about, I guess we could do, how about the data structure first? So I don't know, we'll start, let's start with that. I don't really have that strong of opinion on it. Data structure. Okay, and what I'm doing here is you see, like, after I add this horizontal line, it adds this other um, line here that's blank, and I don't want it because it adds too much height. So I'm going to take that out. Okay, so this is a data structure, and for this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put in, well, I was going to say table or list. Let's do a list for some of these. So the data structure, we can do a list, customize. We're going to remove this title. We don't need that because we just kind of made our own title with an HTML component. And for this, we're going to show our, what are we going to show? Well, we have the data table name and the fields. And you can see I'm hiding these titles. That may or may not be a good idea. I personally, it feels cleaner to hide it, but it might actually not be that wise if you want to make sure that we're communicating what we need to communicate through this proposal. Okay, so I forgot to set this to fixed, so let's go do that now. All right, so we have our data structure, right? Yeah, fine. See documents, field name. It looks okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. And then we have our page structure. So before I forget, let's set this to fixed. And we're going to do the same thing. So a list of pages or page structure that connect to this proposal. We're going to add our row. We're going to split this into 2 columns. Now this is the actual list body that we're splitting into 2 columns. For our actual list layout, we're still choosing 1 column, like that, list column or list layout, 1 column. All right, so we forgot to add HTML component above this. So this is going to be page structure. Add our line and get rid of the extra space. Then we have, let's do our project phases next. So the project phases one is cool because we can put a calendar on this proposal. So as far as proposals go, adding a calendar I think is pretty awesome for both parties involved here. So we're going to do in project phases. And what are we going to have below this? We're going to do a list. First, we're going to actually like list out the phases. So this, and then we'll add our calendar so that they can see that. So we have the phase, and I only did the phase and the date range. So let's just put those on there now. I didn't fill out any other information for this. Phase and date range, hide the title. Whoops, I did 3 columns instead. Okay, 1 column layout. And lastly, for phases, we will include a calendar. Again, for project phases, we're going to put the date range as the date field and the phase as the label field. Default. Well, we got some purple going on in this app, so why don't we do purple for our event color? Okay, project phases. Oh, I should sort those, shouldn't I? And we're going to change that color slightly. So project phases, we're going to go to the data source and sort this by phase name, ascending, right? So yeah, phase 1 through 3. And I'm going to change this to like a more of a pastel purple, I think. Okay, so overview, data structure, page structure, project phases. Here's our project calendar. And then we're getting close. There's only couple more things we need. And one of them is the customer needs to know all of the line items, right? So what are we doing for them and how much is it going to cost essentially? So we're going to put that in here as a table this time around. Okay, so we're going to do the line items, and we're going to have the service, or the service image. All right, we're going to hide that. We're going to hide column title for service too. Service image is also hidden. And we'll do the quantity, the cost, the total. We also needed the type on here. So service and service type, hide. Okay, and then we're going to add a summary row, total. And we can now, we only really want to show the total, like the total cost for all of the services. So we can actually turn off the summary for that row or that column and turn off the summary for that column. And we're going to hide the title or delete the title from this table. And I think we are good. Okay, so let's go here. And then we need to add our HTML component, right? We're building our own titles here, essentially. Services. All right, how's that look? We have, Dear David Ross, thank you for choosing Tadabase, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Right, so see how this looks now? So we have this image that came from our service. You take it or leave it if you'd like it or not. Then we have the name of the service. Is it an add-on or a main service? How many, what's the quantity, the cost, the total, and then the total for everything. All right, so need a coffee break for this one. All right, here's the cool part next. At least this is my favorite part of the whole thing. So this is our signatures. Right. So the idea here is that we can send a link to this page, right, to the customer. We can send a link to this page, and then they can sign it. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is first we're going to add another column or another row. I'm sorry. Fixed. We're going to set this up like we just did with all of the other proposal content, where this is going to be the portion for signatures. Okay, at least we're getting points for consistency here. And then we're adding, we're going to add a detail component for the proposal. Okay, so the signature fields are held on the proposal record, And that's great. That's where we want them to be. So we're going to pull those. We're going to go and look at proposal details through the detail component, but we're only going to show like the customer, the actual signature fields and the customer name, things like that. So those are the only things that really matter here. So we'll do the customer name. We could probably just change this to date, and we could probably just change this to signature. And again, that's not actually changing the field name. It's just changing how it's actually displayed here. And then on the right side here, because we split this row into two columns, we can move this. Let's say customer and Tadabase. I don't know. Whatever your organization, I'm just making this up. Okay, and then we have the date, right? So this is the date that somebody from our organization has signed it. And then this is our signature. All right, so now how do we actually fill in this information? Oh, wait, one more important thing for this detail component. I almost forgot. Inside of a detail component, we have the option to hide empty fields, which is really cool because right now this has no signatures, right? So we can, if we scroll down and look at this, it's completely blank. Okay, there are no signatures, so we're not just showing empty fields. We need to get those signatures first. Now, what I was saying is, how do we get that information? Okay, so again, this the signature information is held on the proposal record. We are sending a link to a proposal details page, which means that we have complete access to edit the proposal record. Okay, now at first that sounds slightly concerning because we don't want to change the proposal, but we can limit the fields that are actually editable. Okay, so by only showing the customer name and the signature on here, let's see, your name, your signature. Okay, now this is going to be dynamic, so we're going to make this required. We're going to make this required. This is editing. This is editing the proposal record, and we're going to show this to the customer. Okay, so I'm going to do this row. Actually, let me just do this again, and then I'll show you what's going on here. I'm going to copy this proposal form. I'm going to copy it. Oh no, I can't copy it to a details page. Sorry, I forgot. So we're going to add this again. And we're going to set up an identical form. The only difference is that rather than the customer fields that are being edited, we are doing Tadabase stuff. We can even call this the same so that they look similar. We're being very, very tricky here. Okay, so your name and your signature. Now again, these are actually the Tadabase ones. And then the one above it is the customer ones, right? So to help us identify that, we're going to name this row customer signature, and we're going to only show it for logged in customers. Okay, and then for this one, we're going to call this, I don't know, your organization signatures, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's Tadabase or somebody else. This is for your internal organization. And this is only available for admins, right? So now when we send this page to a customer, they'll have to log in to sign it. And what we can do here is add a row above this. And this row is only going to be visible to non-logged in users. And we're going to add a login component. And let's see, that's fine. we're going to add HTML again and say you must be logged in to sign this document. All right, now here's something cool that we can do. H1. Okay, we can use some of like the built-in classes and stuff. CSS classes equals alert danger. Okay, so when you submit a form, like if you have validation rules or something, and those validation rules trigger and they deny you from submitting that form, you get a red notification underneath, right? So that comes from uh, a framework that Tadabase uses, a web development framework called Bootstrap, and we can reference those classes if we know them. So I'm cheating a little bit here, but I'm using what's available to me. Okay, so if you know any sort of additional information about web development, then these types of things can come in handy for you, even though we don't really explicitly tell you that you can do them. But we can add whatever class we want. This time I'm gonna, and you could style your own class. You could create your own class and then add CSS for your own class. But in this case, I'm gonna use some uh, CSS classes that already exist. All right, so what this looks like now is a customer gets sent this link, right, to this detail page for proposals, and it's for their proposal. They are probably not logged in the first time they actually click this link and access this page. Um, sorry, I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to change this because I just realized something. So they're not going to be logged in when they first access this. Okay, so we're going to say they need to log in. All right, so what are we going to do here? That's only for okay, inherit from layout. Right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, sorry, that took me a minute. So here's why I wanted to change this. So the parent page of view proposals that contains a list of all of our proposals needs to be secured so that only administrators can see all of the proposals. We do not want customers or anybody outside of our organization to see anybody else's proposal. Okay, done. That's fine by we've done that by setting the security of this page, the parent page, view proposals, to only users with specific roles, and that role is defined as admin. Okay, our layout has no security, which means that pages within the layout are defined individually. Okay, and then the proposal details page is inheriting the layout setting from, or the security setting from the layout. Okay, the proposal details page is inheriting the security setting from the layout, meaning that anybody can view the details page. So we send a unique link to a customer to view their proposal, and then when they actually get to the bottom of the page, right? Because they might also want to share um, this proposal with other members of their own organization. And those people we don't know anything about, so they're not logged in, whatever. So they can view the proposal. Now, if they want to sign it, then they're going to see this message, because this message, this HTML component and this login component are within a row that are set to where the visibility of the row is only for non-logged in users. So if you're not logged in, you'll see it. And once you do log in, then this login component and that message, they disappear. Okay, they're being hidden. Now, once you're logged in as a customer, you'll be able to see your form to edit the proposal record. And by edit, I mean add your name and signature. I just realized too, we also want to update this with a date and time so that we know customer signed, current date and time. Okay. And then if you're an administrator, then you'll be able to sign your own portion of it. Okay. I hope that makes sense. There's one more piece here that I want to show you. And that is um, nope, we're good. We're good actually. So let's go ahead and I need to make sure I'm not still logged in because I want to start this from scratch. Okay, give me just a moment. Okay, right. So I just made sure that I was all logged out. Okay, now and then I refreshed this page, this proposal page here. Now let's pretend I'm David Ross and I get this link emailed to me, texted to me, whatever, and I go to this proposal. Okay, I'm reviewing the proposal, and here's where I get to the bottom where it says you must be logged in to sign this document. Okay, and you can see that it's styled like an alert because I added that class. Okay, so once I sign in, page should refresh. And when I go back to the bottom, you can see that alert is gone. And now I'm able to see the form. Oops, I just realized what I should do. This was the last thing I needed to do, which was to go to the options of those signature forms and hide the back to link. Okay, because if you notice, there are no links that go back to the parent page. Um, so, except for those. So we want to hide those. All right, so let's refresh again just so you can see this. Right, so my name is David Ross. I'm signing this to the best of my ability. Right, sure. And now we're signed. All right, now so if you think back from like 10 minutes ago or so, that detail component with the signatures, we set that detail component to say that we're going to hide empty fields. Um, now that this is signed, then we're what am I trying to say? It's visible in the detail component is what I'm trying to say. What I was got myself sidetracked there. I was thinking, and we could also probably find a way to now hide this row because it's been signed. Um, but I'm not going to do that right now because it comes with a host of other questions like, well, what if we need another signature? Then what do we do? Um, okay, so we're just going to leave it the way it is. They can sign this over and over and over again. I guess it doesn't really matter. It will just keep updating the last time that they signed it. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is, all right, let's log in as an administrator now. Okay, so if I refresh this proposal page, let's say this is me. Oh, and let's do this too. Sorry, I keep coming up with more ideas that we can do. Okay, so I'm not going to build this out all the way because our email addresses, or at least one of the email addresses, is fake. But when the customer signs it, we can send an email. So the customer signs it, we can send an email to. I guess in this case, it would be like somebody from within our internal organization, and it will be, well, it can be from whatever. We could just say, let's see, customer name has signed uh, there has signed the proposal for, and then I don't know, we'll just put the proposal name in there. Okay. All right, so that can be, we can fire off an email. So the customer signs, we can send the customer an email saying, thank you for your signature. We're awaiting, uh, a signature from from your representative or whatever, or I don't know, whoever still needs to sign it. And then we can also send an email to the members of the internal organization so that they know it's their turn to sign it, right? So let's do that. And then when we sign it, or if I sign it as the administrator, then I can send out another email notification saying all parties have signed. And we can also include this condition. So let's pretend that we're doing that. So if customer signature is not blank, and the Tadabase signature is not blank, then we're going to send an email to the customer's email. Your proposal has been signed by both parties. Great. Okay. Again, it's not a complete email, but that's not really the point of just understanding that you can. Okay, so now I'm logged in as an admin or no? No, I need to refresh this page. Oh, right. Yeah, this is for me. Okay, sorry. Because I named them the same. So we'll just do big TY, right? Database signature, customer signature. We're good to go. Okay. So at this point, this is the proposal. All right. You could take this and run with it. You can build this into your application. Um, you can also build on top of this, right? If you wanted to essentially rebuild the detail page again as a PDF, then you're absolutely welcome to. And then once both signatures are completed, you could show a button to download that PDF. Now, I'm not going to spend time rebuilding the detail page for the third time today, but it should be pretty straightforward for you to do that. There's lots of other ways that you can kind of improve on this and add to it. Okay, so you can add whatever data structure you want, right? So this is just my example. It's like an app development, but let's say you were doing like construction, right? Like you could have a material list table that pulls in products from another table. You could have, if you were doing like events or something, then you could have, the data structure is completely up to you. Okay, how you design this is your choice. I want to mainly focus on this page side. Okay, so the page side should still be exactly the same regardless of your data structure and the things that you choose to include on your proposal. All right. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to discuss them or answer them in our community. And until next week, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care.